so much.
I'm curious to know what motivated you to start an open Grace Villa.
Well, first of all, I'm really, really excited to be here and honored. Thank you for hosting me. So 9 years ago, I lived in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm an early childhood care specialist and a child psychologist. 10 years ago, I moved from Boston to my village, which is in the hills, the beautiful hills of Kabale, to open this safe space. It's a home and a safe space for girls who are at risk, orphaned, abandoned, abused, rescued from early marriages, and we give them a safe space to be, and like you mentioned before, an education in all sorts of ways, both vocational and mainstream education. So partly it was my background that motivated me. Another part of that is the family that I grew up in. I'm a double PK, which is a daughter of 2 reverend canons, and our home was that kind of home, a home of African generosity.
Right.
And then also there was a big, like Oprah says, aha moment where it's a story, but I'll try to break it down and make it short. I watched a documentary, and you know the power of a visual like this one right here. It was called Invisible Children, about the atrocities carried out by Connie.
I want us to move on to what you're doing right now, because we have very limited time. You have very young children, you have some young adults. How do you cater for their different needs?
So one of our main objectives is not to raise children who are askers, but children who try to solve situations for themselves. So of course we do need support, and that is one of the things that has helped us get where we are, our community and kind people out there. But also we focus very much on our sustainability projects. One of them is this tailoring, like pretty much everything I wear these days is made by our kids. We do agriculture, we focus on really good education, and many of our kids are on bursaries. We have sports scholarships, and basically we try to find creative ways to be able to fund the many things that you can imagine we need to raise a home full of of 30 girls in the home and over 400 children in the community.
You look for relatives of these children to be able to reunite them so they don't stay in the villa for so long. How is that going, and how do you ensure their safety once they are with foster care or they are with other relatives?
Sadly, the traditional ways of caring for kids is kind of eroded. And not anyone's fault. Well, more to do with poverty, you know, the disease that's scavenged with HIV and all that. So sometimes it's hard to even find families that exist for these children. But our first course of action when we get these children who are brought to us by our Uganda government, the police and probation, is to try to find their homes. But for those who we fail to find homes, then we provide that safe haven out of Grace Villa. But yes, our first course of action is to look for relatives and to support those relatives so that they're able to raise these children the right way.
I have only 30 seconds left for you. You say in your article that Uganda has the highest rate of teenage pregnancies. What do you think is the contributing factor, and what can be done? Very briefly.
Tradition, like I mentioned, extreme poverty, and also the fact that girls are looked at, sadly, as a commodity. Like if a family is struggling, they will sell her off, give her off to early marriage, or to, you know, if they have a boy and a girl in the home, chances are they'll give the girl away to get raise funds to put the boy through school. So we saw a lot of this during COVID, like it really exacerbated during COVID, and it's a sad situation, but one that we are determined to tackle